Welcome everybody to this the first OmniFan virtual roundtable discussion. We're so thrilled to have everybody here tonight. It's been a crazy ride through quarantine, but we're here and we're glad that you're all here with us. As everyone can see, we have none other than Knicks fan favorite himself, the one and only Chris Childs in the building tonight. He's helping us kick off our first event. So everybody can give a wave.
Appreciate y'all.
I'm on mute right now, but give him a wave. And
Appreciate y'all.
Chris, thank you so much for hanging out and giving us your take on who we think should be the next Knicks head coach. That's the topic of discussion for tonight.
Okay, let's get to it. I appreciate y'all having me on. You know, I support any chance I get. You know, you got two ladies out there making things happen. I'm all for it.
We appreciate that. Yes. And you have shown your support from day one. You know, that shirt was kind of made for you.
I wear it every time I go to the gym.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That means the world to us. But so I'm just going to give a little quick rundown how the call is going to run. We will start off with the coaches discussion, and then we'll spend about 5 minutes roughly on each candidate. There's a few to go through, so we want to be mindful of time. And then we'll finish with a quick Q&A. So during the course of this call, we want everybody to send us your questions, and we'll probably have enough time to choose about 5 questions, so make sure that they're good, and we'll have Chris answer them at the end of the call. So the coaches tonight are Jeff Van Gundy, Kenny Atkinson, Mike Miller, Tom Thibodeau, Jason Kidd, and Mark Jackson. We know that this is a very hot button topic, so I know you're waiting to tell us all your feedback. But so you've been broken up into smaller groups so that you can have smaller discussions with Chris. And whether you're for or against this coaching candidate, just tell us how you feel. You don't have to hold back. We want to hear why you're either for or against this candidate.
That's right.
So it's no filter. Let your feelings be known. Okay. And remember, if you want to chime in on someone else's discussion, you can do so by either using the Zoom wave your hand feature or the reactions button. And that will let you in that discussion if time permits, of course. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. And the first candidate on the docket is Jeff Van Gundy. Now, I mean, personally for Jazz and I, Jeff is one of our favorite coaches of all time. I mean, in our generation, he's been the coach that we've seen win and get the most out of our team. So Chris, we'll start off with you. What is your take on Jeff coming back to coach the Knicks at this stage in his career? Like, do you think it's a possibility, or what do you think?
No, that's not gonna happen.
No?
I think Jeff is happy with what he's doing now with the commentary. I would love for him to come back because I think he represents what Knick basketball is all about, being a rally disciple, and you can tell he's a New York type of guy. He fight for his players.
Oh, yeah.
He's a player. We saw that when he fell off of Lonzo's leg.
Exactly.
Ooh, that wild ride.
Like he looked like a jockey falling off a horse.
He really was a little ragdoll, poor thing. But that showed his heart.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean,
okay.
He would be a good fit, but me personally, I don't think it's gonna happen.
You don't think so? Okay. All right. So with that being said, we're going to open the floor to our first group. Ron and Keith, we just want you to introduce yourselves, tell us where you're from, and then give us your take. Right. The floor is yours. Ron, go first. You can lead.
Hey, Chris. My name is Ron. I'm from Brooklyn. Currently residing in the Bronx.
Hey,
Definitely salute to you, brother.
How you doing? Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So here's my take about Jeff. I love Jeff. I appreciate all the hard work he's done for us. I used to see him in a post-game interviews, and every post-game interview, he would have bags under his eyes. And I would always say, like, that guy's like, he gets no sleep. I always hear he's in the film room or whatnot. I appreciate everything he's done for us, but I feel like he's got to grow. When he assumed the position of head coach in '96, he got to grow for years with the players, ever since '89 when he was an assistant coach for the Knicks. And I feel that the players had the trust in him already when he took over and assumed the head coaching role in '96. I feel that right now, we got a group of young guys, the young core, Mitch Robb, RJ Barrett, Frank, And I feel like, honestly, I want somebody that's going to build the team from the ground up. As much as I respect Jeff as a coach, I feel like he already had the trust in his players. And even when he took the head coaching role with the Rockets, he already had players in their prime like Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. I think it's a whole different situation, a whole different setup. And that's why I don't think Jeff is the right coach for this job right now. What do you think about that take?
Well, I understand your point, but you also have to look at somebody's background. The younger players know what he did and what he does. And they know he's knowledgeable about the game by watching his commentary. So if he was to come back, they can look back on, okay, what was his track record? Guys respect coaches when they know their history and know if they were winners or not. So if he looked back if they would look back on his history with the Knicks and know that he was successful every year that he was there coaching. And like I said, I did a post before. The Chicago Bulls should have an asterisk by their championship in '97 because we would have beat them. And if we would have met them, we would have beat the Bulls. And then Jeff will still be saluted and celebrated to this day. And I understand your point, but if he was to have that championship, then these players would say, okay, he's won one before. He knows the city. He knows the players. He knows what he's talking about. Let's give him an opportunity. I don't think it's going to happen. I would hope so. I really would hope so. But Jeff just looks too – I haven't talked to him personally, but he looks too comfortable.
Without the stress.
Right.
Yeah, his bags are gone. The hair is starting to slide to the side a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith, why don't you give us your take? What do you think about Jeff?
Well, I'm Keith. I'm from the Bronx. Knick fan for a long time. Going through the struggles. Ain't gonna stop being a Knick fan.
Right, that's right.
No matter how much criticism I get, I'm not stopped being a Knick fan. But as far as Jeff Van Gundy, I think that he can bring back that winning culture. We was in the playoffs every year when we had Jeff Van Gundy, and I think he would be a good addition as a coach. I think he would be able to mold some of the young talent that we have on the team. And we need a veteran coach like that, and I think that just like you said, Chris, being with his reputation, I think he will be a good leader for them. I think they will respect him. They'll play hard for him. And I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen, because he does look comfortable. I would love for him to come back here and coach for us again. That'd be great.
Right. No, I agree, man. It's just that, when you play in New York, and a lot of players can't play in New York, it's just a fact. It's not just the basketball, it's the media. It's the nightlife.
That's right.
You have to be, and I was a person that if I went to, home and went to sleep, I was no good. I had to be up and feel the vibe of the city. I would walk around the Bronx. I would walk around on 33rd Street. They shooting dice on the corner. I would give out, tickets. I had to feel that vibe to be a part. Yeah. I'm being serious. I was on the concourse in the Bronx a lot. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of guys, and Jeff is going to let you understand it. He's going to let you be you.
Right.
That was the thing I respect about him the most. He let me be me. He didn't try to change anybody. He let Charlie be Charlie. He let Spree be Spree. He never tried to change anybody. And I think the younger players would see that. And Jeff has coached, on the Olympic front, the World Games. So he understands and he relates to players. He's not one of those taskmasters that you got to listen to me. He's going to show you. Even though he can't get out there and stop you, he's going to run the offense and show you how he wants it done. He's a teacher. He's the best X and O guy that I've seen, that I've been around in a long time. And I play for Lenny Wilkins. I play for some great coaches, been around some great minds. Jeff Van Gundy is probably not record-wise, they're not going to give him that, but as far as knowledge of the game, top 5 easily. And I'll stick with that with anybody.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that about sums it up on Jeff. I mean, we again mirror that exact same sentiment, Chris. If we had it our way, he's our top pick. But we all know the circumstances. He's chilling.
Yeah.
But now, okay,
but a lot of millions.
Exactly. He's sitting pretty.
Right.
Now we're gonna move on to our next candidate, which is Kenny Atkinson from the Nets. Now, personally, I'm not a big.
Why you take a deep breath?
Would you say take a deep breath?
Take a deep breath.
Not a huge fan of Kenny Atkinson per se. The reason why I say that is just because he seems to be too much of, and I take this with a grain of salt, too much of a player's coach, meaning that I think he's going to give in a little too much to these big egos that a lot of these young guys come in with. And I'm not necessarily here for coaches bending just to satisfy a certain player's agenda. It's all about the team. And while I know that he does have good credibility with a lot of players that he's coached for, he's not my first choice. And I might be biased because he coaches for the Nets. What do you think, Chris?
You want me to go first?
Yes, you can lead.
Okay. I don't know him that well, but what I've seen from afar with him coaching the Nets. I played for the Nets too, but
yes, you did.
I did.
Hold that against you.
That's where
They were the New Jersey Nets, though. At least they had their own identity back
right.
then.
Now they still searching.
But it would have been nice to play in that arena. But I enjoyed the arena that I played in. I don't know about that new stuff. They done took the tunnel away in the garden. That made me sick.
I know. Oh my God.
Made me sick. But anyway, we'll get to that another time. Kenny Atkins, I think he's a good coach, but just from afar, he looked like he would be a good assistant. I'm just being real. That's like if you see a guy play, you're like, he might be a good backup.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he's not a starter. Nothing against him, but his demeanor and the way he coddles players wouldn't be suitable for New York, not the Knicks. The Knicks need a hardcore coach that's going to help hold these guys accountable, not just in the games, in practice, and what wearing that jersey means, what it stands for. We need a coach to let the players know to show them we don't take no shit when you come to New York.
Exactly.
It ain't happening. I don't care if you come in there and you think you go get, like guys say, LeBron, Michael, Cole. Oh, I feel good when I come to New York. I'm putting on the show. Nah, because I remember the first time, I put on a Knicks uniform. And John Van Gundy put John on Michael to start the game. And I had been preaching the whole week, coach, let me have him early because I don't want him to get hot. No, John got him. So John ended up giving Mike got 35 in the first half, right? Second half, he go look at me and said, get him. I said, bullshit.
I know that's right.
I said, bullshit. I went in there and fouled him 6 straight times and went and sat down because you're not going to get 55 on it. Right. And so by saying that, they need a coach that's going to have these guys accountable and have these guys foaming at the mouth that the team that comes in there, you might lose the game, but you're going to win the war. Because they going to know that they was in for a fight, and the crowd is going to see that and really start rooting these guys on, and then they going to start playing even harder.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they need a coach that's going to really go out there and hold these guys accountable and pretty much put the fire to their feet and let them know that it doesn't start during the game, it starts in practice.
That's right. And that brings us perfectly to a perfect time to open the floor up to Jerron and E.
And we also added in Knickerbocker Ave. He requested to join us.
Okay,
so we
yes.
put him in.
Okay, perfect. So let's unmute them.
Yep, they're unmuted.
Okay, perfect. So I guess we can start with G Money.
Yeah, let us know where you're calling in from, and what's your take?
Chris, what's going on, Chris?
G, what's good? What jersey you got on, fam?
I got on the Barrett today. Threw on the Barrett.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that was New York. All right, let's go.
Of course.
Let's
so
go.
I'm from Harlem. I actually work at the Garden, so I get to see a lot of this stuff firsthand. And my take on Kenny Atkinson, from what I've seen from his work in Brooklyn, you know, he seems like a player's coach, but he also seems like he pushes player development, which is something that we badly need on this team with all the young talent that we have. And I don't see him as a bad candidate, you know, but now that we've added World Wide West to our presidential scheme,
West,
I could see us now making a bigger splash. And, you know, I don't see them hiring Kenny, but I wouldn't mind seeing him coaching this young team.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I understand your sentiments, but I think if he's good at player development, then that needs to be his field. That's where he needs to, you know, make his mark. And that's why I say he looks more like an assistant to develop the players rather than lead them on the court. Like I said, I'm seeing this from afar because I haven't been to a game and since I got traded.
Wow.
It's been a minute.
For the record, I cried.
Hey, baby girl, I did too.
I'm sure. Oh my God, no, it was a dark day. That was a dark day.
I don't want to relive it.
Yeah, but it's a business. But I mean, I don't like to speak bad on players or coaches because it's hard enough to make it.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And if Kenny was to get the job, I would support him like he was the best coach in the world because I think that's needed right now. But if we're sitting and having a discussion as fans, ex-players, or whatever, I have someone in mind that I think would be perfect for that job and would bring us back to where we need to be, where we're respected, where people used to fear coming. I know when I finally signed, it was a dream come true that I'm in the Mecca of the NBA, and me being born on the West Coast, spent all my summers in Philly with my uncle. I was a New York fan. I was a Walt Frazier fan since I was a little kid. So I'm just ready for the chant to come back. New York, the Knicks. I'm ready for the Garden to get back rocking, like when LJ hit that 4-point play.
Yes, sir.
It's time for us to get. Yeah, it's time for us to get a chip, and I just don't think he's the candidate for that.
Got you. What do you think about that, E?
Well, I was looking at his age. He's 52. I thought he was a lot younger than that. But you know, when I think of Kenny Atkinson, I think of Jeff Van Gundy a lot. Because you know, with the stress, you talk about the bags under the eyes. Kenny Atkinson looked like he's a heroin addict or something. I feel like he's worked very hard. You know, he's every single time that he's had guys, he's had a lot of injuries with his rosters. He's always had his guys playing hard, especially like his really young guys. You know, and the reason why he got fired recently is because of Kyrie and Durant and those guys, because they don't want a Kenny Atkinson, a guy, a hard worker like that. They want their figurehead. You know, somebody they actually want to play as coach. So it seems. You know what I'm saying? So. I kind of like Kenny Atkinson, man, but I'm kind of with you with the whole World Wide West stuff, man. I think they really want to make a splash in that regard.
We agree with. I mean, I here's what I like that he's gotten some productivity out of those guys, you know, from the Nets because they were, lost. However, you know, just even down to his decision making late in games, like they've lost a lot of close games based on the joy that the plays that he's drawing up. So. Going back to what Chris said, he's more of an assistant, in my opinion. Player development being his specialty, but head coach material, we don't feel it.
Right. And quickly before we wrap this up, we have just we're already over time. But Ab, do you want to say 2 quick words?
Kenny Atkinson is a bust. He doesn't belong to be a head coach. The only reason he was successful is because he let D'Angelo and Dinwiddie do whatever they wanted on the court. If anybody paid attention to them in the regular season, which I did, unfortunately. Much have free reign to do what they want, take as many shots they want, and they were just, you know, hot at the right moment. So Kenny Atkinson, for me, maybe a player development, maybe a film room guy, but a head coach, absolutely not.
Okay.
Got it.
Perfect.
Now we're gonna move right along to Coach Mike Miller. He was our interim coach to end this last half of the season, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And I like what he did with our guys. You know, at least it was a step up from what Fizz was getting out of them. But I, again, don't know if he's the answer to bring us to the next level. Like, I want a guy who's really going to be in there commanding and demanding their attendance every day. And I don't just mean physically, I mean mentally. So, but like I said, Mike Miller has gotten some results. I just don't know if it's enough to take us over the top. Let's see. Chris, do you want to start with this one, or should we open up the floor to other people?
When they first said Mike Miller, I thought it was the basketball player. I don't know.
He's a
Mike Miller, Jerry Miller, Jimmy Miller, Barney Miller. I mean, I'm just keeping it a buck. I don't know much about him. He was an intern coach, right?
Yeah,
intern,
yes.
And once again, this whole merry-go-round of coaches that come in, I think was he a G League coach or something, or?
Yeah, he was with the Westchester Knicks.
Okay, so a lot of times, and I like I said, I'm not here to bash anybody, because I think anybody deserves opportunity to get in, to try to make a living and support their family with the things that they do. So kudos to that. But New York needs to make a splash.
Yes.
All right, they need to we need a parade before the parade.
Yes.
We need a coach to come in that's going to get me out of Florida to come down there and meet him at the airport to let him know what needs to be done to get this team back. We need not only a coach that understands the game, that has a DNA of knowing what Knicks basketball is all about, but we need more guys that used to play for the Knicks to be a part of the coaching staff, upper management. Yeah, we got Allen, John, LJ, but they're doing community service stuff.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Which is dope, which is cool. That's fine. But you got other guys, you got Pat, and honestly.
Yo, you see my shirt, right?
Yeah. I talked to Beast, man. I talked to him, and he's doing well, man. As soon as he gets healthy, man, we come into a city near you, and we put on our own. It's just gonna be the guys. We don't need front office. We going to the park. We gonna have a barbecue for the fans, and we gonna celebrate. We gonna celebrate the '90s team like it should be celebrated.
That's
with
right.
The fans. And Patrick said he was all for it. So he was the first one I talked to, and when he said he's all for it, then everybody else is gonna follow suit. Because I'm gonna holler at Oak, and I'm gonna tell him, let shit go. We too old. Let's get back to the city that loves us, and we love that city. Yes. And let's get this train running the right way, because that train been going backwards for too long. Agreed. And that ain't how we roll.
That's right.
So I understand that this Miller, whatever his name is, he's G League, good coach, whatever, but nah. I got told.
Yeah, we need somebody with more experience, with that has more. It's New York City, so
you need some vibrato.
Exactly.
Yeah, we swag. You need a guy with swag that on the bench that everybody know when they see him, like, oh, we got a chance tonight.
Exactly.
You look at him, and nothing against him, but I don't fear him. If I was an opposing coach or a player, I wouldn't fear Miller on the bench. But
the mental game is something to bring into it also, because like you said, what will the opposing players think? If there's no fear there, then you got to look at something. But
they used to fear us. They don't fear coming to the Garden or going up against the blue and orange.
That's right.
Because if we couldn't beat you, we was gonna beat you up.
Facts, exactly. That's what's missing. That's what's missing. A little fear.
So that's what's missing.
So John Stephen Barkley, Mr. Mad Hatter. What is your take on this? And Perry Gillen, OmniFan team member.
Well, we have Luke unmuted also, so he can give some of his 2 cents also.
Okay, perfect.
Well, first let's say my name is John Stephen Barkley. I'm from the Bronx. I love Chris Childs. He sounds like somebody that I just left a few minutes ago. He's just down to earth. I love his toughness. That's a true Knick right there. I love it. I love him. I love you, man. But
Bro,
Miller,
your jersey
he don't
is
show that. He don't
fire.
have the toughness. You see that, man? You see that?
That's
like
fire.
That? Thank you.
That's fire.
Yeah. So yes. Ewing, yes. Korean.
Yes, sir.
New York.
So what do you
Korean.
think about Mike Miller?
I like it. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Well, Miller, like I said, he has his little record for him. He has a coaching honors. He has an honors from 2018 in the G League. He has the coach of the year there for the 2018. Mm-hmm. He took that team from 32 to 18. That was their record as far as the G League. So maybe just to stay on staff, he could be good as that. But a head coach, he don't have that, that fear look. Like he said, that toughness. You don't have that. I'm born and bred in the Bronx, and it's a certain thing as just being a man. If you look at certain, it's an animal instinct. I mean, if you look at a certain gentleman, you can see how weak he is by just looking at him. You kind of understand what I mean? So, a coach, he laughing, but you understand what I mean? You can look at a person by the way he stand, by the way he hold himself, by the way he carry himself on, okay, if I talk to this guy, I can talk to him a little firmer than another guy who might jump up. I mean, think about it. So, what you say toughness with a coach starts at the head. So if the coach is not intimidating, then how the body going to be intimidating? You can't have a baby face and big muscles. So it don't work that. So we need toughness all the way around, I agree with that. So and also too, I was thinking that too. When I first heard of it and they said Mike Miller taking over, I was thinking of the basketball player also. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I had to separate the two and figure him out and see exactly if, and figure out who this guy is and what he was doing. But he basically does, and his season was cut short, so he didn't really get to do anything, really show what,
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, and you're like, the sentiments are the same, because when you look at just for instance, when you go up, you got your uniform, you get ready to go up against another player, you can tell if that player is going to battle to the end. You can sense weakness. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
we can.
Okay, you can sense weakness. You can sense weakness in a guy sometimes. So I don't see him being the guy. It's just New York stands for something. It means something. You know what I mean? It's like when I watch the games, I get so frustrated with the coaches, the players,
the rotation,
because that's not what you signed up for. It just seems like the guys are just there to collect a check. And you need like Jeff used to say, you don't need to get your money today because you play like a dog. But I loved it and respected because he was honest. You know what I'm saying? He didn't coddle nobody. He didn't baby nobody. He didn't say, well, we gonna hold the plane because you 10 minutes. Like, nah, that plane was going. Get your own ticket and get your way there because you're not showing no professionalism. So these guys need a coach that's gonna hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. So when they step out there on that court, you might beat me by 5 or 3 or 2 or 1, but there's no way you should be getting beat by 30 or 40 in the Garden.
Consistently.
Consistently. So that's coaching.
Agreed.
That's coaching.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey,
Perry. So you need a coach there, man, that's gonna, put it out on the line. If they called me and said, Chris, we want you to coach, I'm gonna lay it on the line. I'm not gonna sit up there and get beat like a dog. I'm gonna give it my all, and the players gonna respect me and they go work.
And that's the team that comes in,
coach.
Perry, what do you think? You think Mike Miller has it?
I mean, he's not my choice. First 2 weeks that he came out and the Knicks slightly started to improve, I was like, okay, this is a little better.
Yeah, right.
But he had like an awesome opportunity And he just played the same veterans the whole time, and we got our butt kicked. I wanted to see some Iggy, some Wooden, some more Dot, and he didn't do it. But I do think that he earned a place as an assistant coach to stay on the staff if it works with whoever the head coach is. But yeah, not the guy. The players respect him, but he's not he won't take us to the playoffs and beyond.
And I
agree. And let me just say this: I really appreciate the knowledge of the fans on here that know the game, that know what they want, because it's all about the fans. And I think we've lost that, because when we stepped on the floor, we wanted to put on a show, for the fans and be respected. And I don't see the players wanting to put on a show and get that respect. And you have to earn the respect of the fans.
Yep, agreed.
And if you don't put a coach in place that the fans like, then the players aren't going to be comfortable.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's a trickle-down effect. It's a domino effect. It starts at the head. And
right, correct.
The fans are at the top of that. The fans are the head. And if the fans are not happy, nothing's going to go right.
The organization is forgetting that. They're forgetting that the fans are the ones that's paying the salaries, the tickets, everything that comes with that. You know what I mean? Like all the other entities that come with being a New York Knicks, with the TV rights, the Madison Square Garden, and ticket sales, the concessions. That's because of the fans. And so why not put a coach and players in place that the fans could enjoy and cheer for? You know what I mean? It was a show back in the day.
Yes,
when they used to come. They get hey, we going to the Garden. They getting ready to ball. Exactly. We didn't always win, but we played our asses off for the fans.
Yes, you did. And that's what solidified a whole huge generation of Knicks fans, is those 90s Knicks. That spirit that you guys embodied. It was no holds barred. It was you fear to come play on this court. But we'll move on, because the next candidate is actually one that Jazz and I are extremely excited about if he was to get chosen to be head coach. And also,
yay! I already know who it is. Yay!
Tom Thibodeau. That's right. Tom Thibodeau is the next person on our list, and we'll start this one off with getting some fan reaction first. Okay, so we'll let
whoever. Jimmy, you want to take the lead?
Sure, no problem. I'm Jimmy Wickfall from the Boogie Down Bronx. Chris, what's up?
What's up, Jimmy?
I'm good. Tom Thibodeau. Okay. I look at it like, just rewinding really quick, what you were stating with Jeff Van Gundy, being like that X and O's coach that knows plays and everything. I think that's what they're going to get with Tom Thibodeau. The only thing that I'm on the bubble with Tom Thibodeau is like the Mike Miller things, but not as much as Mike Miller. Is he ready for New York? Is he, because everybody knows that when you come to New York, whether you're a player or a coach, it comes with some pressure.
Absolutely. Right.
You know what I mean? And Tom Thibodeau, I'm just going to look at the upside with Tom Thibodeau, because, just looking back at his track record, just wins and losses, outside of Jeff Van Gundy, he puts out a good product. He does put out there a good product. And, and has a record of working well with young players. He does. And I think what the Knicks need right now is an established coach. We need a coach that's established. I mean, no disrespect to the coaches that's a candidate, Kenny Atkins, Mike Miller. No disrespect to them. But the Knicks need somebody, I think, that can come in, get in their face, and say, all right, this is how it's going to be done. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of risky to bring in coaches that we haven't really seen much of at this point. you know, no disrespect to them again, but I think we need somebody that we know has a track record, knows the ins and the outs, and I think that's what we get with Tom Thibodeau.
Agreed, 100%. Before we chime in, and Chris, we'll hear from you, Luke. What do you have to say?
First of all, my name is Luke Rosen. I'm a huge diehard Knicks fan. I'm 13, actually. Yeah.
Hey, Luke, that's right, baby.
That's very knowledgeable 13-year-old Knicks fan.
Luke.
I see the highlights of you, like, busting Kobe and that. Yeah.
I appreciate it, Luke.
Yeah. So I really like Tom Thibodeau. He's a hardworking type guy. Like, he goes tough on you. He holds you accountable. He knows how to handle, like, the big markets. Like, he handled Chicago with the whole D Rose thing. Like, I think he played a huge part in developing D Rose into the MVP, Joakim Noah into a top defensive stud. Also, Luol Deng and Jimmy Butler turned them into some studs in that. And yeah, I think he also is great at holding you accountable. Like, brings that fire back to MSG, and I think, like, the fans would love him. I like him. I really want him. He's gonna put your feet to the fire. So I tell you, you lose tonight, you're in for something.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. I mean, we feel the same way.
What do you think?
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I'm a combine the answer with Jimmy and Luke.
Okay.
Van Gundy, Thibodeau was under. He was there with us.
Absolutely. Yes.
He ran the defense, even though he sounds like Count from Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I love Tibbs. I'm smiling right now because he was a type of coach that he was attention to detail. He was the guy that when we were on the road and I said I need a VCR in my room to study AI or Michael, because I wouldn't go out that night because I knew I would be in for a long night. So I would stay in the room and watch video, and he would be there to drop it off in my room or have one of the ball boys or the managers. So he's definitely one of the guys that I respect a whole lot. Like he coached under Doc Rivers, so he's getting all his knowledge, and he's a name that the New York fans would know. We need a coach. We need a coach that can come in there and not take a back seat to Dolan, not be a puppet.
Yeah, take command.
You know what I mean? Take command. Let me coach. I understand you own the team, but let me do what I do. You don't have a horse owner out there riding the horse, do you? You know what I'm saying? They hire a trainer, then they hire a jockey. So let this guy come in and run the ball club like he knows. Yeah, he went to Chicago, went to Minnesota. Unfortunately, there was some injuries that happened when he was with those teams, so he didn't have the full crew that he needed to go out there and compete. People forget that. But Tibbs is a hell of a coach, and he was there with Jeff. Jeff taught him. They knew each other well. He's a New York guy. He's no nonsense, but he's a player's coach. He don't sit up there and demean you or say that you can't do this or you can't do that. Be you. Long as you play defense, I don't care what shot you take, but get back on D and make up for the mistake that you made. He's going to hold those guys accountable. And that's the type of coach they need, where the fans know who he is. He has Knick DNA.
Yes.
And he's going to put these guys in the best possible position to win. Now it's up to the players to go out there and do their job, because Tibbs is damn going to do his.
Yes.
Let's go and let's get D Rose back.
Yeah.
Get who?
Let's get D Rose back, because D Rose was balling under Thibodeau.
Yes, he was. And if there was any guy, there's not a lot of guys that I watch, and I know this is going off the cuff a little bit.
That's okay.
But D Rose, what he went through when you dealing with mental issues, depression and stuff, bro, for him to come back and ball like he did,
yes,
come on, go get it. And I bet if Tibbs gets the job, he will go get it. And he will be an excellent asset to what Knicks basketball is representing that city, representing every borough, because I done been in every borough, even Yonkers. Sue's Rendezvous. What's up, Sue? Yeah, so of course, man, I'm a Tibbs fan. Jimmy and Luke, man, good questions, good feedback. And Luke, you're 13, bro?
Okay.
Oh man, you got a future, man, in TV, man, and what's also the dude? What I can't remember his name. I'm getting old. I'm 52. Dude with the Korean jersey on, man. You should be on TV, bro.
Oh, John Stephen Barker.
Who, me?
Yeah, you should be on TV, man. You should take some acting classes, bro.
I'm trying so hard, dude. I'm trying so hard, man. I'm glad you could recognize that little knack. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get a little commercial.
Game recognized game, baby. I'm a point guard.
I bleed this blue and orange. I bleed this.
Hey, I'm from Cali, but I'm a New York transplant. I'm from both, bro, because they show me so much love. So I appreciate the fans and you guys and the knowledge that you guys have for the game. And I enjoy this, man. I just started social media a year ago because my son said, man, get on there and interact with the fans, whether it's good or bad, because everybody has a right to their opinion. But I know that when I stepped on the court, I gave it 150%, bro.
You definitely did, man.
CBA, homie, where I was making $350 and raising 2 kids. So when I stepped on the court, I was hungry.
Yeah. Oh, you play like it, man. Believe me, I know.
And I still want to get Tim Hardaway.
And Mike. Hey, I'm gonna step in. Our video is currently not being shown, but can you all still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
I definitely we're all here for all the banter. I love it. But we do want to just keep things moving along. And there are a couple other people that want to talk. And we have 2 more candidates left. So we'll quickly get into Jason Kidd. And we have Anthony Miller, who's going to talk about that. If anybody else would like to chime in on that, send us your reaction. But to start,
I'll be right back. I got to get a refill.
Okay, sounds good.
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
I appreciate that live interview we did last month on IG, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm trying to give back to everybody in New York, all the new starts and everybody. I don't do TNT, ESPN. I don't do none of that. I do I'm grimy.
Yeah.
I'm coming to New York to barbecue for the fans, me and Oak.
Yo, that's what's up. Just keep us posted when it's happening, because I'll definitely fly up there for that.
Oh, I'm there. Oh my God.
So you can sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you can continue on.
Oh no, it's cool. Don't worry about it. But like my honest opinion, I think Mark Jackson should be the coach. No disrespect to Jason Kidd at all, because like he was the main reason we won 54 games that year when we won the Atlantic Division. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to the rest of the Knicks tape squad. Knicks tape, whoop whoop. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised y'all ain't doing it with me, but it's okay. Like he was one of the main reasons we won 54 games that year. You know what I'm saying? I'm just mad he ran out of gas in the second round against Indiana, but it is what it is. But anyway, I think he should be our coach, man. Mark Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Is anybody else other than Anthony chiming in on this, or you want me to go?
You can go. You can go, Chris. Well, actually, no, we have Luke who wants to chime in, and we have Ab that wants to chime in.
Okay.
What's that thing?
So go ahead, Luke.
I think Jason Kidd would be amazing coaching.
Right.
He developed Giannis and stuff like that, and he has that New York toughness, and he's that 54-win team in that. Also, we needed a coach that's going to get on these players and man them up. That's why I kind of also like Thibodeau. But I think Jason Kidd will also be a great assistant under like Thibodeau with like a Mike Woodson or something like that. We need like
Word.
Yeah,
Man, listen to this kid, man. Wow.
Yo, he got a lot of knowledge, yo.
Yes, he does.
Yo, so 13, he got a lot of knowledge, yo.
Call me up.
I mean,
And see, that's crazy though, because he's only seen one winning season in his lifetime.
Exactly.
Exactly.
He didn't suffer like we did.
I stood on the line with him for like an hour and a half one time for an event, and him and his father, he knew so much. He embarrassed me.
Word.
All right, so we're gonna have. Oh, did Ab get done?
I'll be quick again, Chris. This is my name is Angel. I go by Knickerbocker Ave. I have my own Facebook page and podcast as well, and I've been down with these girls for a long time. Since the beginning, since the Fort Knicks days. But Jason Kidd to me makes absolutely no sense. I don't think that he would mesh well, with the proper talent that we currently have today. I mean, yeah, he'll help develop them. He'll start a thing or two, but I don't think that he's a well-versed coach yet. And I think that he needs, I think he needs to get his feet wet somewhere else first before I can say deliberately Jason Kidd is ready to coach in this league. Because, yeah, he had the success in Brooklyn for a little bit, but it wasn't much. He had his time in Milwaukee. I don't think that he's there yet. I want to see what he does, with a brand new.
Sorry to interrupt. There's some feedback coming from either Anthony, Luke.
Nah, it's good. It's quiet over here.
Okay. Cool.
I want him to continue because I like what he was saying.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead, Angel.
Angel, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Chris.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but what I was saying about Jason Kidd is that I want to see him get his feet wet with a brand new team, with a full 5 years for him to really show, kind of groom himself and groom his own pedigree, and develop a real coaching style. Because I didn't really see a lot of what he really is about in Brooklyn, and in Milwaukee he already had Giannis and he had pretty much a core there. I want to see what he does from the ground up. And I don't think that New York is the place for him to do that.
Nope.
I mean, I'm gonna say I disagree, and the only reason I disagree is that I agree with you that he should be in New York, but he should be coaching the Brooklyn team because
we know that he was coaching the Nets,
but they traded him.
Right. Yeah, but that's where he should be. That's where he should be because those guards need to learn how to run a team. Okay, when they had Russell, they got Dinwiddie, they got these guys. Yeah, they can score, and that's fine. But there's a difference between scoring and running a ball club to get them in championship contention.
Absolutely.
And Jason knows how to do that, to get guys. Because I played with Jason for a short time, and when I went to the Nets, my second go round, and I played against him a lot, and I knew him growing up in California, and he's very knowledgeable of the game. But there's a difference between being knowledgeable and knowing X's and O's. When you're a coach and you know X's and O's, you don't need your assistant to do anything but be your assistant.
He was basically our player coach when he was with us that 1 year. You know
right, but even when he was in Milwaukee, he had Lawrence Frank.
Yep.
And Lawrence Frank is a hell of a coach.
And
Lawrence Frank,
2004,
Lawrence Frank went from a videographer and did all the videos, so he knows X's and O's. And then when he went and got with Jason, he ran the defense and did everything. So I like Jason, but I don't think he's the guy to be in the forefront of running the Knicks, coaching the Knicks.
Okay.
So, Chris, let me ask you something.
Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry. We have to move on.
Cool.
We can look. Anthony, you can totally submit your questions for the Q&A, at the end, but we literally we're running out of time, and we still have to speak about Mark Jackson. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was my next
question. We'll circle back.
If we have more time, we will circle back. But add that to the queue for other questions, and we'll see if we can get to it. Okay? But don't worry, we have exciting news at the end of the call, so don't fret, anyone. Okay? All right. We're gonna move on to Mark Jackson. In this group, we have Jimmy and Angel, who are scheduled to talk about Mark Jackson. So Jimmy Rodriguez will let you take it away.
What's good, Chris? Mr. Chris Chill Childs. My name is Jimmy. I'm from East New York. I'm from East New York, Brooklyn. I've been a diehard
in the house, baby. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Check out the shirts because them girls, they rep for you, kid.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what's happening. OmniFan.
Yeah.
So I've been a Knicks fan since the early 90s. I always say since I was born, 72. But it could be a curse because we haven't won since then, since I've been born. So,
not true. We need a redo.
Yeah, we need a redo, kid. But I've been diehard Knicks fan since '92, and the '90s squad from the early '90s to the late '90s was the most exciting time that I had watching the Knicks, and that's why I love the Knicks so much. Even the years that we're no good, I'm always there, diehard. Of course, I hated Mark Jackson because of the Pacers, right?
Right.
I didn't get to really see him play New York too much, but you know, I feel that he would be a great coach because I feel that Golden State Warriors had a 20-year drought of making the playoffs, and he took them to 2 straight years. And if he wouldn't have gotten fired, they would have won their chip with him. That's what I feel. I feel, you know, the players respect him. He's a great coach, and he played for the Knicks. And I feel like giving a player like you said it before. You said if they call you, yo, would you coach? I'm rooting for you if you want to coach.
Hey, if one of those guys get the job and they say, Chris, we want you to come be an assistant, I'm on the first thing smoking.
That's
I'm gonna keep my fingers
gotta put that in the air.
I'm gonna pray on that tonight, okay?
Yo, call Patrick to do that shit, though.
Hey, look, make a T-shirt say Chris is on the first thing smoking.
Hey, say less.
Yeah, so that's how I feel. I feel like we need a player that used to play for the Knicks who has that love for the Garden and knows how the toughness of playing for the Knicks. Because you could be a great player and you come to the Knicks and the pressure, you can't deal with the New York pressure, you're going to suck. I mean, you're going to fail big time. I mean, I love Carmelo Anthony, and I hate what the Knicks did to that boy because he was the only star who came here and took a real chance. All these other stars that we've been saying we've been wanting to sign, we're going to go get Kevin Durant. Nobody wants to take a chance with the Knicks because they know that if they fail, it's in the Garden, and they're going to look tough, you know?
Right. Is there anybody else chiming in before I go?
Yeah, I'll let you go ahead first. I want to hear Chris's thoughts.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, well, Mark would be my first pick. I love Tibbs, but Mark would be my first pick. I think he would make the splash needed. He would get the meter going. The players know his track record, know he's a winner. I don't have the insights on what exactly happened in Golden State. I think it had to do with upper management and his belief in high power, his
that's generally what it was.
Yeah, his dedication to being a good Christian or whatever. And I remember when Charlie first started Bible study and us going to the center of the court to pray, not only for the win, but keeping us safe. And we used to pray even for the other team to get home safe because at the end of the day, we're all human. And that's what Mark is all about. But at the end of the day, you got to coach. You got to coach, you got to win. And he has a proven track record of doing that. And by bringing him in, free agents were like, oh, Mark Jackson's the coach? Then the antennas are up. Like, oh, let me go over there and see what's happening. They're changing things. But I think it would be a high reach because Dolan wouldn't be able to control Mark. He wouldn't be able to control him.
That's what I think is going to ultimately keep him out of the job. Ultimately, I think that because these team owners, it's like a club that they have, and please believe the I would say the theatrics that happened over in Golden State, it has not just been kept there. It's definitely known league wide, and so I think that could play a factor as to why Mark Jackson may not get the actual job.
Right, but look at this. If you came to the Guard and you looked over there on the bench of the coaches, and you had Mark Jackson, head coach, Patrick Ewing, co-head coach, and Chris Childs, defensive coach.
Oh my goodness!
Come on now.
Right now we're talking.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm just talking, but yeah, I mean, yeah, but I would. Hey,
you're gonna
hey, you have to put it out in the air.
I would. Hey, y'all start a petition. I would, but Mark is an excellent choice. He's my first. I don't know if him and Dolan would mesh, but if he doesn't get the job, I think Thibodeau should, because I like the way Mark develops. And being a point guard and understanding every position on the court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He understands where you should be on the court. Because if the thing that, even when I played against Mark, I never was worried about him posting me up because I told him don't double team. And a lot of guys will come back and double team, and that's when Reggie and all the other guys get open shots, don't double team. But Mark knew if they double team where everybody was on the court. I remember I had a conversation with Mark one day. He said, Chris, I know what you guys are going to do even before you do because I played here. I played with these guys. I know what they eat. I know what they I know how they move. So, you know what I mean? So that right there let me know that I really have to be on my game. So I think he would be able to implement the knowledge of the game to the players that they have there today and get them to understand, even like just say, for instance, Robinson. He would help him so much because he's just like, because Mark played with the Davis twins. He reminds me of those guys, but a little more athletic. And a lot of times he gets into foul trouble because he wants to block everything. You don't have to block everything, but if you're going to block a shot, keep it in play so that we get extra possessions. And that would Mark would teach him because I love that kid. I think he's going to be a heck of a player.
Yes, he is.
Robinson is my dude. Yep.
He's going to, and him and the kid from Duke, they'll be all-stars in 2 years. RJ, they'll be all, not next year, but give them 2 years, and with the right coach, they'll be all-stars. And Mark would make them that. Mark would make them that.
Hopefully the Knicks won't get rid of them.
No.
But Leon Rose in his conference, I think, basically said that Mitch is definitely here to stay, and of course RJ is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they get rid of those kids, they'll shut down the city.
Oh,
for real.
Okay. Yes. We'll be right there in the front.
Ab, do you have anything to add?
I really can't add much to what Chris already just said. My biggest concern is his clash with Dolan. And with Leon Rose and World Wide West, because obviously the Knicks, Dolan wants to kind of like completely change the perception and the identity of the Knicks. That's why he hired, he has Steve Stout come in. He has Leon Rose. He's got World Wide West now under, up in the upper management. So I'm kind of curious as to where would Mark fit in. Obviously, Mark would be the fans' choice. The New York media will eat it up. The players will respond to him, but just how will he connect with that regime now? Because it's not just the roundabout of coaches; it's the roundabout of upper management. I mean, we went from the Isaiah years to the Donnie Wall. I mean, to Phil Jackson to Steve Mills, and we've been waiting for him to get fired for. I've been waiting for him to get fired for 20 years, but that's beside the point. But it's like how will Mark Jackson fit in with that? Because obviously there is that that contingent part where he did get dismissed in Golden State because of certain practices that he does that he uses within his spirituality, and how will that mesh with the reputations that World Wide West and Leon Rose will then more than likely bring in? Because remember, for years, us Knicks fans have been getting over the CAA nonsense. You hired two of the top dogs from CAA, and now they're here. They're in the position. How will that all translate, and how will Mark fit in? I would pick Mark Jackson, but I don't see him fitting in with that current regime.
But let me say this, because that's interesting. I know Worldwide West. I've known him for years. I was shocked. I really was. I was shocked. And Steve Stout. So with those two guys and with Rose, he's different from those two. But with those, with Worldwide West and Steve Stout, we're leaning more towards the hip hop culture.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. We're leaning towards the younger generation, the hip hop culture. Now we all forget. I think Mark, his wife, or somebody he knew dealt with music back in the day, right?
Oh. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, they did. So I think he would mesh better with that regime than Thibodeau, because we have to realize that,
actually,
you know what I'm saying? He's an old school white man.
Right.
That, you know, he ain't listening to hip hop.
Right.
He doesn't understand. He wouldn't know what a Pele is if he laid it down.
Pele.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, Dada, Fubu, or whatever. So I think Mark would mess with those guys well, because it would be Leon West and Steve Stout in a room. Even if Dolan is there or he isn't, that would be able to be on the same page because they come from the same background.
Right, the same school, right.
The same school, Hard Knocks, grew up, you know, hard, hungry, you know, whatever. But I think they would mesh well rather than in Tibbs. Like I said, I love Tibbs, but I think with this regime that they're putting together, Mark would really mesh well. And I don't know what Wes's title is with the team, but
Executive Vice President and Senior Advisor.
Right.
Oh, that's a little title.
He's going to be the one that's going to deal with the free agents. Because he knows everybody. He knows all the college coaches. He knows all the hip hop people, him and Steve Stout. Everybody knows Wes, because Wes was there back with the Chicago days with Michael, Scotty, the Black Mafia that came out of Cleveland. Oak knows him real well. So he's going to be able to connect with a genre of people that can bring the type of free agents needed for the Knicks to get back to where they need to be, to where when we having these conversations, we're talking about how many championships we're going to win.
Pretty much.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about him at all. So thank you for filling me in.
Yeah, Wes is deep. I know him. He's a good dude. He knows a lot of people. But when I saw that he signed with the Knicks, I gasped. I was like, what? And then I'm like, okay, I see the vision with it. He's going to be the one that goes and flies to these different cities to get the free agents that we need to be relevant again. And he will do it because everybody knows him. His track record speaks for itself. He's never been in any trouble. All he cares about is putting a great product out there to make us relevant again. And I'm all for it.
We are too. And you know what? That's a perfect closing for the coaches discussion.
Cheers, everybody.
First of all,
with the Chris Chill Times.
Yes, sir.
We'll go quickly into a Q&A. Jazz is going to. Have you guys submitted any questions?
We haven't received any questions, but we have a couple of lines.
I think we've been holding them up. That's why. So I'll start off one question.
Okay, go ahead, Av.
Okay.
So, Chris, back in 97 or 98, after you hit that three-pointer in the playoffs against the Heat, and you got caught on the New York Daily News, doing the cutthroat. Was it really a cutthroat, or did you have an itch?
It was a cut. Hey, it was a cutthroat because I can't stand the Heat. I was letting them know they were done.
Yes.
I got called into the commissioner's office. Rest in peace, David Stern. too many times about my actions on the court. He thought I was a gangbanger at first because when me and Chris Mills used to get when they announced the starting lineup or whatever, we used to throw up a West Side sign.
Right, yes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he called us in like, there's no gang sign. I said, dude,
oh my gosh, out of touch.
You know what I mean? Just old school, whatever. And you know, but I like to have fun. I don't like guys that play uptight and not have fun. But the fun comes from the work. You can clown as much as you want to, you know what I mean? But when you step on in between those lines, you get a feeling. I get a feeling in my blood, in my heart. My heart start beating. My stomach gets sick, and you know, I want to go to the restroom because I want to win so bad. I want to compete so hard for the fans. Because I give you a quick example, and then we'll go to the question. When I first got to New York, I can't remember who we played. It might have been Minnesota or Charlotte. I hit a game-winning shot. They was cheering me, and I went to a couple restaurants. They bought me dinner and all this stuff. A week later, we played the Bulls, and I missed the game-winning shot. They booed me for a month.
Wow.
But listen, that's okay. They booed me for a month. They were like, you should have passed it to Allen. And when I went to the interview, I said, if I get that shot again, I'm gonna take it again. And if I miss it, I deserve to be booed. And I shot it every time. I didn't flinch. And they started cheering for me from that point on because I don't take no shit from nobody. And I'm gonna represent the New York Knicks to the fullest. Every time I step on the court, I'm gonna continue rooting for them. And I'm gonna sit up there. Any coach they bring in, I'm gonna support him. I'm gonna support these ladies, Omni, all y'all know, and all you guys that talk to me, we go keep this thing going, brother.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
I got one more thing to say before they mute me. Yo,
Jimmy, okay, go ahead, Jimmy, go.
And then we have a question from Luke.
Okay, Jimmy.
For 52, you still look good, man. I'll put you on the squad to play for us right now, boy.
Hey, I can. If you swing it to me, I can knock down a shot, but I ain't playing
Do
it.
Right. Okay, Luke, you're up next.
Also, follow me on Instagram, Luke Knicks Nut. I got a question. At Luke Knicks Nut. I got a question.
Okay.
What was going through your head when you punched Kobe in that?
All right, Luke. Let me say this, young man.
Right.
Real quick. I know that's a part of the NBA history. It's a really touchy subject for me because Kobe represented a lot for this game, for what he's doing for women's rights, for the WNBA, what he, did for the NBA. Back then, that was what we were all about, is that some of the things that go on the court are physical, elbows, this and that, and some of the elbows, when they get above the shoulders, I take offense to that. And I asked the referee to handle it. He shrugged his shoulders and didn't say anything, so I handled it the best way that I knew how to handle it, coming from where I grew up. So with that being said, let's leave that man's legacy, what it is, of being a great player, of being the second best two guard to ever play the game, an unbelievable husband, unbelievable father, unbelievable brother. And let's leave that where that is. I appreciate the question, but from this day forward, I would never demean and answer any questions in a negative way concerning Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely. And as it should be.
God bless.
Thank
you for that. Does anybody have any questions? We'll have one question and then we will close it down.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me, brother?
He's here.
Yeah, I hear you, Rob.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Real quick before my question, I just want to say I've been a loyal OmniFan supporter, and I want to thank you for in. We love you, man. I just want to say we love you, you know? So I just want to ask after Larry Johnson made that 3-point shot in the 1999 Eastern Conference Finals, you ran over to him and you said something to him. I just want to know what were your exact words to Larry Johnson, and do you fully understand the magnitude of the effect you had in contributing him making that free throw?
He said, "Chill." Yeah. That's where he got his name.
Well, when he shot, the play wasn't really for him, and if you watch the film, the ball got deflected.
Yeah.
And he caught it, and when he shot it, I knew it was in because I raised my hand. But point guard mentality kicked in because automatically I looked at the scoreboard and I knew that we tied the game. And if you look at my reaction, I celebrated for a minute, but then I'm like, oh no, we just tied it. So my thing was, and one thing about Larry was I could curse Larry, I could slap Larry, I could kick him, punch him. He always respected anybody coming to him and saying anything. So I knew I could run to him and say, listen, I said, hey, motherfucker, we only tied the game. Calm down and make this free throw.
That's right. That's right. At the end of the day, that's what you needed to say to him just to get him refocused, because anybody can get caught up in that moment.
Yes. Right. And then he looked at me and he put his hands up. He's like, all right, you're right, chill. You're right. And then he did his woosah, whatever he do.
Right.
And he calmed down, and I knew he was gonna make that free throw because he was one of the most focused and determined, unselfish teammates that I've ever played with. And it couldn't have never happened to a guy that sacrificed so much of his own ability, because when LJ came to the Knicks, that first season, his back was no good. From that point on.
Yes.
So
Right.
He had to literally take ibuprofen and get out there and just play and do what he can do. Because if we'd had a healthy LJ, a healthy Patrick, we would have beat San Antonio too. We'd have had 2 championships, 97, 99.
Exactly. All right, so we have another question coming in from Perry. I'm muting her now. Okay, go ahead, Perry.
Hey, I want to know who your Knicks dream team is, top 5 of all times that you would challenge anyone on the court with.
Ooh, that's a great question, Perry. Wow. Okay, my dream, Walt Frazier at the point guard. It's kind of tough between Allen Houston and Earl the Pearl Monroe at the 2, but I got to go with H2O at the 2.
Okay.
Carmelo at the 3. Who at the 4? I am going to take. Oak gonna be mad at me. Oak gonna be mad at me. He's gonna be mad at me, but that's my boy. Dang, between Robinson and I gotta go with Mason.
Okay, Mason. I mean, Mason, your face. You can never go wrong. You know,
rest in peace. And you know I gotta go with the beast. I gotta go with I gotta go Pat. But let me say this: I gotta have a 6-man though.
Oh, you gotta have a 6-man. I mean, that would be you, really. I mean,
no, that gotta be Starks.
Oh, John Starks. Okay.
That's Starks. See, I put myself in Clyde's place, but I'm a smart man. I pay homage to a guy that I've looked up to since I was 6 years of age. He was an unbelievable player, so he gets that spot. Now, I can come in and play 20 minutes and get you.
Right. I mean, we don't know what you can do, okay? And you want to us off that bench.
Yeah, I'll come off the bench, but those 5, you know, because you got Earl Pearl Monroe, you got Barnett. I mean, you got cats that won championships that can really get it done. Dave DeBuscher, you got, Willis Reed.
Oh yeah, my shirt is an ode to that team.
Yeah. So it's a lot of great players, but that would be my 5 that.
Okay.
They can get it done.
All right.
That's perfect. You know what? Let's wrap things up here. That was an amazing amazing insight from you and great input from everybody who has joined us tonight. This couldn't have gone any better. We're beyond excited and ecstatic that we were able to do this and have everybody come together. Yeah, we will see you all very soon.
And don't forget. So obviously we know that there wasn't enough time to answer everybody's questions. So we will be having a second event with Chris Childs where he'll be able to answer more questions, and it'll be more just focused on Q&A with him. So we'll put that out there and put the information out there for everyone. So stay tuned and look forward to that.
Yes. Everyone have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon. Chris, thank you again so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, everybody stay safe. Practice social distance because I'm tired of hearing about what's going on in New York.
Okay, and Florida,
we'll get together soon. Peace.
Okay, peace.
All right.
Bye, everyone.